time here. I'm Vusumzi Martins. I'm from the Eastern Cape. I'm originally born that side. This talk is part of my PhD work that I'm currently busy with Rhodes University, with the distinguished Charlie Shackleton and Professor Alta de Vos. So this came about whilst I was working for the Eastern Cape Parks and Tourism Agency. In each and every part of the Eastern Cape where I went to, and I always saw that there were either snares or people hunting with dogs. And I always wondered why these people were actually embarking in this. Was it because of they were hungry, or was it because of they were going to trade? So it always raised the question that what was the primary motivation behind bushmeat hunting? So I approached Professor Charlie Shackleton back in 2019 to start a PhD with him, and he was first of all quite reluctant, and but saying that there's a lot of work being done. But when we started seeing that, no man, a lot of work, not a lot is being done in South Africa, but a lot of work is done in Central Africa and Western Africa, where, as you'll see in my next slide, so this is the overview of my current PhD, which I'm about to submit later on this year. So this is the chapter 3 that I'll be presenting at the moment. So so as I was saying, most of the literature on bushmeat hunting comes from the central parts of Africa, western parts of Africa, where bushmeat, the primary motivation for bushmeat has been said to be trade. And it has shifted over the years from being subsistence-based and to more of trade, as tons and tons of bushmeat is traded throughout Africa and to other countries, other parts of the world. And we always had this thing, what is actually going on? What are the primary motivations of bushmeat hunting in South Africa? Because we all know that there is hunting occurring even outside of protected areas. And that's what we wanted to find out. Why are these people hunting, and to what extent is the hunting occurring within the Eastern Cape and the forest of South Africa? So in 2019, me and Charlie, we published this paper addressing the lack of knowledge of bushmeat hunting, although we know that it is occurring and it is something that is ongoing. No one actually knows to what extent and what are the key motivations behind bushmeat hunting. The little that has been published and what has been said doesn't give the proper analysis of what exactly is going on behind bushmeat hunting in the country. As we all know, bushmeat hunting is a complex wildlife conflict scenario whereby the hunter is actually looking out for his livelihoods and his well-being, and whilst at the end of the day, the wildlife is being affected. So this requires a social ecological systems approach, and hence the inception of the study. So the aim of the study was to provide a detailed analysis of bushmeat hunting practices by rural subsistence hunters in the Eastern Cape Province, South Africa. And the problem that we tried to address were trying to determine what are the key motivations of bushmeat hunting within the rural people of the Eastern Cape, and also to look at what hunting methods and practices these people actually embark in. Also to actually find out what are the key, how do these hunters perceive hunting and the forest ecosystem as a whole. Also, as part of the study, we wanted to actually see if do rural villages, which are quite close to the forest, actually hunt more as compared to villages quite far away from the forest patch itself. So we actually wanted to assess the proximity to forest, how that plays a role in hunting. So we made these following hypotheses. First of all, we said that motivations amongst hunters will vary throughout the study area, and also that hunters will use different hunting methods. And also, since hunting was something that we know that is ongoing and it's within the culture of the people, we say that hunting will be an important activity for the rural hunters in the region. And also that we also say that hunters that will live closer to the forest will hunt more, since it takes less effort for them to get to the hunting sites. Yeah, so we selected 6 forests within the Eastern Cape province. So these were all outside protected areas, so these were all communal forests. So yeah, so in each of them, we selected 2 villages. So one village was more closer to the forest and one was further to test for the proximity. So in each of the 6 forests, there were 2 villages. One was close and one was quite further in a 10-kilometer buffer zone from the forest. We conducted pilot surveys, so we approached the headman or the chief of each of the village, and actually, with their assistance, identified hunters within the village. And then we used semi-structured interviews with each of the pre-identified hunters, and they also recommended other people that it was not quite as easy as it sounds, but yeah, since I'm also of Xhosa origin and all the guys that I interviewed were Xhosa speaking men, it was quite easy for me to engage with them and for them to quite trust me at the end of the day. Yeah. So in total, we did a total of 147 questionnaires with self-identification. So these people openly said that, yes, I do hunt, and they were openly willing to share this hunting. And I guess that was based on the fact that they spoke to someone that they could relate with, who spoke the language, and who also grew up hunting when he was still young. So it was something that was quite easy for them to engage with me. So for the study, we actually found that the primary motivation for hunting, unlike in the central regions of Africa or Western Africa, it was culture. People said, I grew up hunting. It was something that I learned from my forefathers or from elderly male in the community or in the family, but it was something that I grew up doing and I enjoyed doing. And 30%, it was closely followed by sports hunting. So people enjoyed going out with dogs and competing. And so it was something that was more of a sport than anything. So they enjoyed going out in groups and hunting. And so it was something that was some recreational activity for them. So, and only a minority of the hunters attested to hunting for income or trading. So in South Africa, there's no true bushmeat market where people actually sit in stalls or open stands to sell bushmeat. So this was a practice that was done quite districtly, and so they actually sold these in old, where they received their pension grants. So the people that actually bought were hunters themselves. So they were elderly men who used to hunt. So now they couldn't hunt because of old age or injuries or something like that. So they couldn't hunt. So they were the ones who actually bought this bushmeat from these guys. So most of the hunters were unemployed men who owned no livestock. So only 7% of the interviewed hunters owned livestock. So they all attested to being taught by either an elderly male from their family, respective family, or from their community, around their community. So it was something that was generational. So it was from generation to generation, they taught each other how to hunt, and young boys always followed hunters into the field to actually learn the tricks and how to actually set up snares or hunt with dogs. So 32% of the people attested to actually taking the meat back home to their households. So most of the meat was consumed within the hunters. So they would, after they would catch anything, they would sit, put out a braai, and they would eat amongst them and other young boys and young men within the village. So it was never something that was taken back home for other people to also consume within the household. So, and mostly the women actually said they didn't like the taste of bushmeat. It was not something that they enjoyed, and they perceived it as dirty meat. Yeah, lots of them said no, it was not something they particularly enjoyed and something that they would engage in. So it was mostly a male-dominated activity, and mostly men and young boys consumed the bushmeat. So the hunting, there was no significant difference between the 4 villages and the close ones. So most of them attested to either hunting for culture, sport, or recreation. And 54% of the commercial hunters, so the people that actually said, yes, I do hunt for trading. So they were the ones from the village further away. So yeah, when we went to the methods and the practices, so mostly the guys used mixed methods of hunting. So when they hunted with dogs, they went in with dogs and sticks, and before they actually released their dogs, they would set up snares on existing trails. So it was mostly a mixed method of hunting, and it was mostly, the snares were mostly set up by the ones from the village closer. And it's logical because snares require frequent checking. So the people who lived at 10-kilometer buffer zones away from the forest, they couldn't frequently check snares. So they would rather hunt with dogs and sticks and get whatever they could get at that moment, rather than setting up snares. Yeah, so there was a significant difference in hunting practices from the villages further away and compared to the villages quite close. And a total of 10 mammal species was caught by the hunters in the area, and there was a significant difference between the hunting frequency of the ones closer to the ones further away. The ones from the village closer hunted more frequently compared to the ones that were quite further away. And also there was a relationship between age and hunting frequency. So the elder the people got, the less they hunted. So the younger ones hunted more frequently than the elder hunters. Yeah. So this was one of the interesting quotes I got from one of the hunters. My dogs are my pride and joy. I would kill anyone who would harm my dogs. To show a passion for their dogs and what their dogs brought for and what meant to them. Yeah, and then when we went to the perceptions, all the hunters knew that hunting was illegal, and nevertheless they still embarked in hunting and enjoyed their hunting. 60% of them said they would want their children to hunt regardless of whether it was illegal or not. And most of them actually said that hunting over the years has increased, has increased over the years. So it's something that is within their culture. It's something that they enjoy doing. So hunting is not something that will stop at any time. So this was also one thing that was interesting. They enjoyed being out in the forest because they felt closer to their gods. So it was something that they would never stop. It's not something that because there's a law saying that they must stop it. No, they will continue hunting. And all of them said, no, I enjoy hunting. I will, regardless of what risk there are to hunting, I will hunt and I enjoy hunting. So yeah, as I'm left with only 2 minutes. So all the hunters, they enjoyed hunting. It was something that they grew up doing and will continue doing throughout the generations. So, and it's something that I saw that it's not trade-based or something that is very important to their livelihoods, but it's more of a recreational activity or a cultural activity that requires that lawmakers should also make laws that are culturally sensitive to people's cultures and their heritage, such that such conflict doesn't occur. Thank you.